y'all, it's Diane. This is my channel, Di's Health Hunt, and I just finished my second week of restarting keto and getting back on track. I did have another weight loss, and I will put that video in here. My starting weight on September 27th was 196.6 pounds. On a week later, I weighed in at 193.6, so I had lost 3 pounds my first week. And this morning, October 11th, I weighed in at 191. So I'm down so far a total of a little over 5.5 pounds since I restarted. I will put that video in here. I'm gonna try not to mess with my glasses too much. I noticed on my first video, I fiddled with them all the time, but I was a little nervous. I wanted to talk to you about what keto was. There's a lot of confusing and sometimes complicated information about what keto is. So I'm going to try to break it down really simply, my understanding of keto. But before I do that, I just want to say that I'm not a doctor, and anything I tell you is not a substitute for medical advice. If you're having any health concerns, I encourage you to go see your doctor. Anything I say is just for informational purposes only. It's just my opinion, and it's also my experience. So, what is keto? Well, I understand why there's a lot of confusion because there's a lot of different versions of keto. There's dirty keto, there's lazy keto, there's clean keto, there is very low carb keto, there's cyclical keto, there's high protein keto. So there's a lot of information out there, and sometimes the information contradicts each other. But to keep it as simple as possible, keto is when you eat a low enough carbohydrate diet that your body switches over into a metabolic state called ketosis, which is not the same thing as ketoacidosis. And ketosis is when you are, after you've burned through the carbs that you've eaten, your body needs more energy and fuel, so it starts to burn the fat off of your body for that fuel. And that's what ketosis is. And so if you eat a low enough carb diet to get into ketosis, then there you have it. So for some people, they can eat just under 100 total carbs and be in a state of ketosis. I was too metabolically sick to be able to do that. I had to keep my carbs pretty low. I shoot for a total of 20 daily grams of carbs per day to try to be low enough to get into ketosis. I don't always hit that mark, but that's what I'm shooting for every day. So it just depends on the individual, and you have to tailor it to yourself. I do a combination of dirty, lazy, and clean keto. So let me break down what each of those are. Dirty keto is when you eat highly processed foods, but they're still low or zero carb. So examples of that would be pre-cooked bacon or sausage, deli meats, hot dogs, Spam, that sort of thing. It's gone through a bit more processing than just the packaged beef steak in the deli, the meat section of your grocery store. Clean keto, of course, is the opposite of that, where your food has been not processed at all in any way, and it just gives you the food and basically it's raw form. So that'll be your meats in the meat section and your fresh vegetables if you were to be on the perimeter of the grocery store. And lazy keto is when you are tracking, but you don't worry about the calorie intake, you don't worry about the fat intake or the protein intake, you just focus on carbs strictly. And when I first started keto, that's what I did. I was too overwhelmed with everything else. So all I cared about was keeping my carbs as close to 20 as I could get them. I will say in the very beginning as well, I was eating a lot of calories. I was fighting off a sugar addiction. And so I was constantly craving in the very, very beginning something sweet. And so that I would not cave into my cravings, I would snack on fatty meat every time I got hit by a craving, just so that I could try to get things under control. And I know for sure there were some days where I was eating upwards of 2,500 calories or more on those days. And in the beginning, I still lost weight eating calories like that because I kept my carbs so low. So I have come to believe that it's not so much about the calories that we eat. That's not to say that calories aren't important, they are. But I'll give you an example of the calories that I've eaten for the last 2 weeks that has allowed me to lose 5.5 pounds so far. Why don't we talk about some keto foods? The easiest way to start is for me to tell you what keto is not. Keto is not sugar, and keto is not grains or any grain byproduct to include flour, which goes into making bread and pasta. Keto is also not legumes. They're very, very starchy and very high in carb. Keto are going to be any meat. Keto is going to be any seafood. Keto is going to be your low carb vegetables, which tend to be your green vegetables, your leafy vegetables, as well as some others. For example, broccoli, asparagus, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, green beans, kale. Mushrooms are a little bit higher in carbs. Onions are even a little bit higher. I limit squash to yellow squash in the summer when it's in season, and I avoid potatoes, both white and sweet potatoes, because both are extremely high in carbs. So if somebody tells you that sweet potatoes are a keto-friendly food, I don't know why they would think that, because it's really high in carbohydrates. But my general rule of thumb is that I'm going to see how many carbs are in 1 cup cooked serving of vegetables, and if it's no greater than 8, then I'm okay with that. You can have your dairy, eggs, butter, heavy cream, sour cream, cheeses. Hard cheeses are, of course, better. Soft cheeses are a little processed sometimes and sometimes higher in carbs. Whole milk, got to be careful. There's more carbs in that. And nut milk, make sure it's unsweetened. Animal fats are great to cook with. I cook with butter and bacon grease. You can also use tallow. You can use ghee. Coconut oil, avocado oil, and olive oil is also okay. I stay away from seed oils because someone that I follow, Dr. Ken Berry, please, I encourage you to check him out. He has so many helpful videos, and he keeps it simple and easy to understand. But he has done some videos on how inflammatory seed oils can be, so he has convinced me, and so I avoid those now. And seasonings, enjoy your seasonings, but definitely stay away from those seasonings that come in those containers where it's a mix of all these different kinds of seasonings. And when you turn it over and read your label, you see that there's sugar in a lot of them. So avoid those. And sauces, if you're going to do sauces, you have to be very mindful of the sugars that are in sauces. I'll get into a little bit more detail in that another day. So as far as how I've done over the last 2 weeks, just to give you an idea, I did for the purposes of this information track everything, but I'm just going to tell you what my calories were and my carbs were. My first week, my average caloric intake averaged out to 1,937 calories per day, and my average daily carb intake was 42 total grams of carb per day. Use total carbs, do not use net carbs ever. Don't use net carbs, track your total carbs. Now, if that means that you are craving vegetables one day and you eat several servings because that's what you feel like your body needs, and your total carbs for that day end up being 50 or 60, that's fine. Listen to your body, but do not count net carbs. That does not help you at all. You need to be aware of what your total carbs are. My second week, my average caloric intake daily was 1,895 calories, and I did better on my carbs. My average daily carb intake was 27 total carbs per day. So I was able to fine tune it a little bit more the second week as compared to the first week. So, it's funny, a lot of diets in the past, they would start you off on 1,200 calories a day, sometimes less. So they were doing the eat less way to lose weight. And here I am losing weight and I'm eating almost 2,000 calories a day right now. I may have to tweak that later, but that just goes to show you that you don't have to eat extremely low calories in order to lose weight. You really do just need to focus on your carbs. So I'm going to try to insert the video of my weigh-in this morning. I'm sorry, the quality is horrible. I recorded it on my phone and then I couldn't transmit that over to my tablet, which I'm talking on now. And so I have this very cheesy recording of my tablet of me holding my phone, playing the recording of my weigh-in on my phone. So I'm still not good with technology, but I'm learning. I'm enjoying learning new things. I'm going to do another video, if not today, tomorrow, on just an example of what I eat in a day. And I have found it, this app is free. It's called Carb Manager. If you plug in your foods, and I will show you that, it divides up for you your protein and your fat and your carbs, and it'll even tell you the percentages of your day about what percentage fat you ate, what percentage protein, and what percentage carb. It does all the calculating for you. And so when I first started out on keto, I was writing everything down and looking up the carbs on everything on my phone. And this app has really made things a lot easier for me. So I'll show you how I use that as well. So I'll talk to you soon, and thank you so much for hanging in there till the end, and I'll see you later.